was gonna say, what are you doing? I was gonna say, welcome to the Wars and the Stars podcast, the podcast that talks too much about the Bad Batch and its disappointing features. Today, we're going to be talking episode 4 of the Bad Batch Cornered. We're going to be talking about Rangers of the New Republic, and it's still not being in production yet, unlike almost every other Lucasfilm thing they announced. And really some other niche things that we'll be talking about around those things. But I'm here with Hammy DeMann, a.k.a. Drew, and of course me, Candy, in my van, a.k.a. Alex. So, Drew, would you like to take us away on episode 4, Cornered?
Yeah, so I guess we can get right into it. I guess we'll just start off with our general thoughts. I thought the episode was very lackluster, easily the weakest of the season so far. It made me actually, I don't like using this word, dislike Omega more.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't a huge fan of her this episode. I still like the concept of Omega, like the concept and what they're doing with her, but the character itself, I'm not resonating with. It doesn't give me the Grogu vibes, but I liked Fennec in this episode. I think her introduction was decent, was pretty good.
Yeah.
Ming-Na Wen did a great job voicing her. Obviously played Mulan and played Fennec in The Mandalorian, and will play her in the Book of Boba Fett, but she was great. I thought everything with her was awesome. It was cool to see Pantora again. We saw Pantora in the Clone Wars a little bit. It's cool to see the aftermath, I guess, still of the Empire. I just want more from the team. It's supposed to be an ensemble show, and I feel like we're focusing too much on Hunter and Omega. And I feel like this show, like you're saying, I want the show to find its own identity. And I don't mind if the show's own identity is being a mixture of Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mando, like I said, but it's on the nose of Mando. Like, it literally felt like a Mandalorian episode just animated. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, and to that point, like, of it being Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mando, some of the, bright, colorful assets of Rebels have been shown. Like, some of the shots on Pantora, some of the shots on Seleucami, and Kamino, those are like the bright colors of Rebels. The really only Clone Wars thing that this show has is the fact that it's based around clones. And that's really it. But it has rode the Mandalorian's coattails so much. I mean, come on. This is like the thing that I feel almost every time I finish a Mandalorian episode is, I feel like I've seen this somewhere. And it is. It's the Mandalorian in animation, which, like, again, it's not a bad thing to have inspiration. It is okay to be inspired, but these feel like blatant ripoffs. Like, this feels like, Mom, can we get the Mandalorian? We have the Mandalorian at home.
Yeah,
the Mandalorian at home. So, like, Fennec, I was okay with. I wasn't a huge fan of her in this episode, like, especially compared to her in The Tragedy and in, I don't remember the episode with Mayfeld and Mando, where he removes his helmet. Too many episodes, you remember?
Yeah.
Like, she was great in those, and especially in The Rescue. I loved her in those 3 episodes.
Yeah, she was good.
She was whatever in episode 5 of season 1.
Yeah.
But she was still good in all of those episodes. There wasn't a single episode where I was like, she's kind of stale. I want them to do more with her. It's like, you're like, she's serving her point. To this, it was kind of like, why did it have to be Fennec?
Okay, I will add, I don't mean to cut you off. I just had a thought, but
no, you're good.
I feel like if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, you'd be like, oh, just a random bounty hunter.
Yeah, you're gonna be confused. Her name is never said once in the episode. It's never said. Not even in the captions is it said. Because I watch all my stuff with captions, and Fennec Shand never appears in the captions, or at least to my knowledge, it never went or showed up. So it's like, unfortunately, this is a if you know, you know. If not, it's a cool-looking random bounty hunter. But I mean, the episode as a whole, it wasn't bad. I definitely don't think it's the worst one we've had. I definitely think that still goes to episode 2. But
okay,
hot take, I don't know. But I enjoyed this episode. I do agree with you. I really did not like how they handled Wrecker in this episode. It was really disappointing how Wrecker was handled. Because in Clone Wars and
I didn't like. I'm gonna be honest. He wasn't the worst character. They're doing my guy Echo dirty. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Echo.
I actually kind of like Echo in this episode.
Yeah, okay. Somebody, I have to give a shout out. Somebody on Twitter, Steel Saunders. Shout out to Steel Wars on Twitter, and made some great YouTube content. He's like, how did the restraining bolt even go on to Echo? And how did this guy like not recognize that it has a human like shape? Like, how do you like? That guy must have been like the stupidest person on the planet. I will say, the astromech that walked, that was pretty cool. Like, it's awesome. Very difficult. It's very difficult with those astromechs and 3PO looking creatures to make them unique. And in this episode, they did a really good job.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Of making them unique. And and the animation looks great. Like some of the background shots, I mean, it's fantastic, but the product itself, I'm like, what did this do? Like, there's nothing memorable from this episode. And the other thing I have a problem with the show is that everything I love about the show has nothing to do with the Bad Batch. It literally has to do with the Empire, what's going on Kamino. That's the stuff. That's when the show is at its best.
And unfortunately, the stuff for Sustained Fate episode 2 did. Where was Crosshair? It's having a poor job of building up this villain. Because let's say Crosshair dies in this. Let's say Crosshair were to die in the next episode. I wouldn't care. He did one cool thing in an episode and then died. But now, yes, I know it's a little hard to say like 5 episodes in. And the other thing on TikTok that I've been seeing from people talking about this episode is, well, if you look at Clone Wars and if you look at Rebels and you look at Resistance, their first seasons weren't really good. I was like, okay, first of all, please do not compare this show to Resistance. It is miles upon better than Resistance. But Rebels and Clone Wars, that's not an excuse. That's why I don't use the other trilogies weren't planned as an excuse to defend the sequels. Yeah. That you should learn from that mistake to put more effort into this.
In my opinion, it's very ignorant to compare the show to the Clone Wars, the animated show 13 years ago, that they didn't know what the hell they were doing with characters that at the time people hated. Anakin, they didn't know what the hell Ahsoka was. I mean, and it's also ignorant to compare to Rebels, because Rebels was a different show. It was for a different audience.
Yeah,
it's not fair to compare those shows. Yeah, you can say they have similarities for sure, but I think the Bad Batch, like at this point now, we shouldn't be talking about with Star Wars, because the animation's become almost the heart of Star Wars. It really has. We shouldn't be talking about it's a slower first season. No, this show has a lot to do. The show has to explain a time period we know absolutely nothing about. We know what it leads to, but we know nothing about it. I think the show's done a good job so far explaining the Imperial side, but you couldn't name the show anything else. Like, I don't care about the bad. You've only made me care about Hunter. Hunter's become one of my favorite clones. Okay, like they've done a great job with him. Do something with the other ones.
Yeah,
I love Echo, but you're doing him dirty.
Yeah, and to that point, I absolutely agree that, again, using this comparison sake of, the shows we love, like Rebels and Clone Wars, their first seasons were slow. Why are we using this? Why are we basically giving the okay to suck? Why are we giving it a pass? We should know better by now that, hey, this first season, we should probably put a lot of effort into trying to hook people on the show instead of trying to make us go, aw, for Omega. That was the difference between that of The Mandalorian to every other animated show. And it wasn't because of, it's live action. That was because the writing was so much better that it hooked you on Mando. This whole character who was stone-faced in the first episode to who then softened up and became a dad in the season 2, that hooked you on. Even if it was only 8 episodes. We're almost at episode 6. I have no attachment to the Bad Batch, including with a previous arc to them. So technically, if we're taking all the major episodes about the Bad Batch and the show itself, this is about its 9th episode. and I don't care about it. I don't care about the Bad Batch. I care about other things around the Bad Batch.
Right.
The Empire, Crosshair, and all the other things. What's going on in the galaxy with the chain codes and the currency being changed. That's what's interesting me the most. I don't care about the Bad Batch. And I especially don't like how they're handling Wrecker. Wrecker is the one I'm getting really upset on how they're treating him. They're using him for laughs, and they're not giving him any big character development. Like any development that we have gotten, it's been for jokes. Like him being afraid of heights, that could be something that you could have given him a big background for. Like, why is Wrecker afraid of heights? Oh my God, it's because, you know what? He had a friend who fell off from somewhere very high. That could have been a very good background of why he's afraid of heights.
Right.
But no, it's because we need something to laugh at. And that's what they're doing here too, is Wrecker should have been easily been able to handle Fennec Shand. And he got knocked out in one move.
Actually, I didn't really like mind that. I thought it was fine because I really feel like they needed to establish Fennec as. I mean, we've seen Fennec be cool, but like I feel like they needed to do that in animation. It feels like they hinted at the idea that Wrecker's chip is going off, and they just like stopped that. Like where was that? Like keep giving us hints, keep building up towards that. Like you were going there with something. And then I also feel like I like Tech. Tech is probably my second favorite so far. I think Tech's humor is my type of humor. He's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Wrecker though, it's too on the nose a little bit. This episode, he does absolutely nothing. Again, it's the Hunter show. If you called this show Hunter and Omega, a Star Wars story, that would be fine. Because that's what it's been about so far. And I like Hunter a lot. Yeah, Hunter, a great clone. But like, and I will say, I want to touch a little bit on Omega. A cool concept. She's a very cool concept, like Grogu. What is she? What is her purpose? Why does the Empire want her so bad? As you can see, it kind of mirrors Grogu a little too much. But Fennec also going after Omega. Like, well, she wasn't going after Grogu, but in season 2, she kind of was with Boba. But anyways, yeah, it's just like the difference between her and Grogu is that Grogu like doesn't talk, is just like there, like can't defend himself. I mean, he can, but like he doesn't periodically that it's like you don't know when it's gonna happen. Omega talks. I'm not gonna say Omega's annoying. I don't want to say that, but like to me, she's kind of annoying sometimes. Like.
Well, it's like
I understand it. It's a kids show, but like just sometimes like.
Which
like,
oh my God!
What's a bounty hunter?
Yeah.
What's a bounty? I'm like, okay, I get it, but like.
Yeah, it's like I got into that with someone on TikTok. It's like, oh well, you know, it was like, and they call Clone Wars and Bad Batch kid shows. It's like they are kid shows. I was like, you guys do know the like defined age for kids, right? That's like 8 to like 15. That's the defined age for kids. I was like, it was like, you're acting like being a kid is a bad thing. But I was like, look, Omega in this episode, dude, you know what? I will say it. She's a brat, okay? She's annoying. It's like, what's a bounty hunter? Oh my God. Are you really trying to say, like, can you not piece the pieces together on that? The thing is like, the show is it's harboring on too much of the Mandalorian, and all I want to do is just turn the show off and go watch the Mandalorian because it's better. But again, the show is having its problems with getting its footing down, but it's also not laying any foundation to get its footing down. I will say this: it has one of the best features about the prequels in it, and that it's world building. But its character development and its dialogue is pretty shoddy and not very good.
I don't think it's that bad. I haven't, or at least it hasn't been that bad to me. Animation's weird. Somebody said that animation, like humor, is hit or miss. I think the show's been relatively funny so far. Like I don't. I don't know. Like the thing to me is like I'm not like for Mando. I was excited to wake up at 3 a.m. This it feels like just a part of the routine. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
like today.
excited. I'm excited to watch it, but nowhere near Mando, and I'm upset
Yeah.
about that. I love the clone. I don't know what it is. It's just the show
Well,
has given me pieces and hints of things I love. It's just not hidden, and I'm really worried. I think the show's going to end up great when we see more of these characters, but I don't want it to become a Rebel stain where I have a problem with Rebels is it
mm,
relies too much on nostalgia and the older characters. I
yeah,
think sometimes
and
I don't want the Bad Batch to become that.
I'll say to that point, Clone or Bad Batch has been doing a good job of not having many legacy characters show up, and I'll say that. But that also worries me that Dave Filoni doesn't know how to write without legacy, and I don't want to question Dave because in Dave we trust, but.
I don't think Dave hasn't wrote an episode. He's just supervising over it.
Well, I mean, this is like Dave Filoni's like child, and this was his concept show. So at the end of the day, he is responsible for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Like we'll talk about this later with him being creative, like executive creative.
Director,
yeah, or whatever.
Executive creative director. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this falls onto his shoulders of how the show was written, because essentially, Kathleen Kennedy greenlit this show, but then every creative decision goes through Dave. So and again, we have to remember this is in Dave we trust. And I also think that the show's going to end up fine. But you know what? I was weirded out by the decision of what they did with WandaVision to release 3 episodes at the start. I found it very strange. But
it was
then
2. Was it a 2?
No, it was 2. Yeah, it was 2, but it was supposed to be 3. Okay, I'm sorry, I got my stories mixed up. But they released 2 episodes at the start. Now, yes, those were 50s and 60s era, so like not many people wanted those to be 1-week releases. But I honestly think the show should have started off with 3 episode release.
Maybe.
Because the thing is some of these episodes, they're so boring. Like to this week's episode and episode 2, it's like that's all we get this week. Like that's it. We couldn't have gotten like something else. And it's also to this point, these episodes need to stop being 25 minutes. They need to stop being 25 minutes. Either too much happens and gets resolved too quickly to be like, wow, that posed no threat to the story at all.
Or, like you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because here's the thing is like this episode, when Fennec, sees that she's going after is Omega, you're like, oh, there's like 20 minutes. But then it's like, right when Omega got separated from Fennec in the tunnel, you check the time, you're like, yeah, the episode's almost over. You know Omega's going to get away.
Yeah.
It'd be a pretty ballsy move to give Omega, like, basically away already. So, yeah. And then, of course, what happens? Omega gets away. And, of course, we're running on the same narrative that The Mandalorian is running after. Now everyone's going to be after Omega.
I think The Mandalorian does a better job of it, though.
Exactly. That's the thing is,
if you're going to...
It's not a thing to me about it using plot lines from The Mandalorian. Like, it's a big issue that I have. But if you're doing it differently enough, then I don't see the problem in it. The show is not doing it very differently. It's doing it almost beat for beat the same thing. Like, again, with episode 2, when they were on Cut, or episode 3, it's like, oh, I don't think this character should stay with me. I think they deserve a better life. Oh, it's the end of the episode. They actually can't stay here anymore. They have to come with me. It's just like, you know what? This episode was the same thing as... Man, what episode was it from The Mandalorian?
Season 1, episode 4, with when we first meet Cara Dune. Sanctuary, right?
Yeah. And then what was happened is, we're about to, I'm about to depart, and we're gonna go get some stuff. We need to lay low so we can refuel and all that. Oh, now bounty hunters are after us. I guess it's time to go and go somewhere else now.
Yes.
I will say, I'm very happy they're not doing the. All right, we need to go find this child. All right, now we have to go to another planet next episode. Then we have to go get more information to then go to another planet. I like
ship.
that then they're not taking that, but it's still having
Alright,
this problem to take it.
So we got a comment from my guy Choco here. He says there hasn't been a true hook yet. I feel like next week will be the one. I hope.
I agree that we need a hook, or else the show's gonna flop.
I think episode 1 did a good job getting my attention, but it hasn't been the same since.
But
and again,
here's the thing: what got you hooked? Was it Crosshair, or was it the entire Bad Batch?
It was Crosshair and the Empire. It's Crosshair and the Empire. Like I've said, that's the best part of the show. If they show a piece of that every episode, I'm into it. But like, I feel like the Bad Batch needs to be like the Rebels Ghost Crew. Like they need to have that connection. Like obviously, like Hunter and Omega are like Kaden and Ezra almost. Like not exactly. Well, no. I'm not saying like that, but like I'm not. But I'm saying they need to be like the main focus still, but they need to focus on the other members of the Bad Batch because I think some of them are just there. Like they're just like Tech is just smart, dude.
Yeah,
like
and again the whole thing about Echo being confused as a droid, it's like, what are you doing with him, man? Why? What is going on?
I mean, I guess kids would like it. It's just like a childish thing you would see. I think it was funny, but I'm like, as somebody, Echo was the oldest character in this show. He's the character, well, I more specifically grew up with, and I think a lot of Clone Wars fans did. I really feel like that he should be a heavy focus. I know it's not the same Echo we met, but I really feel like they haven't gone deep on his PTSD. Like, what does he think about all of this? Because this is like he's seeing his regular brothers that he fought with. Like, he doesn't seem like a part of the family quite yet. Like he's a part of it, but I feel like they just like stepped over some of the stuff. Maybe they'll focus on it. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions here too quickly, but like I feel like they're not doing it.
The problem is with Echo is, I hate to say it, he's unnecessary to the Bad Batch.
Because of Tech.
Because of Tech. Tech, I believe in the Bad Batch arc, didn't he have a Stomp Link? So he was able to do the things that Echo could?
Yeah.
It's like...
The only reason Echo was useful was because he knew how to navigate around Skekko Minor.
Yeah, and it's like, that was it. So the thing is if you make Echo more important, well, then you're taking away from Tech. If you make Tech more important, then you're taking away from Echo. You're taking away from someone, and
we've said one of them's gonna bite the bullet, and you think it's Echo.
I think it's Echo because there's no point to have him at the show anymore.
There's gonna be
no point.
It's gonna be sad.
Which, like, that's the thing. The show isn't giving us a reason to want him. Because here's the thing: is if Echo dies, okay. It'll be like when Fives died for me. It's like, oh no, that's so sad. Anyways,
I'll be devastated.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean,
well, you're not a Clone Wars fan. You are, but but not like me. That's no offense. That's no offense.
Well, no. I don't take offense to it, and it's a true thing. I didn't grow up on Clone Wars like that. I was like, cool, new Clone Wars is coming out. My thing was Rebels. I was hooked by the show, even though I only was like 11 when it started coming, or 10 when it started coming out.
I was the exact opposite. I remember like having resentment towards it because because of the Clone Wars. I love that so much, and they didn't finish the story. They obviously ultimately did, but they didn't finish my story. I'm like, well, why are we doing this story now?
Yeah, and again, I'm a huge Clone Wars fan still. Regardless, I've done many rewatches of the show.
Right.
It's just the thing is with Clone Wars, and Clone Wars had a little bit of this problem where it didn't give you much of a reason to care. But then again, I give Clone Wars the pass for that. It was an arc. It was an arcs show. So 1 to 3 or 2 to 4 episodes was a centered story around that, and they even did that for season 7. Things that was different from Rebels to Bad Batch to Resistance. They were linear shows. They never went back in time for the future seasons. Like, for instance, one of the first events of the Clone Wars happens in season 2 and in season 3. So it's just like it gets confusing. It's a confusing plot line because some of these events that are mentioned don't happen until technically before they happen, but we don't get to
Right.
see what they're talking about until later seasons. So it's like
The first chronological episode of the Clone Wars is season 2,
episode 18, Cat and Mouse.
Yes, it's with Trench. It's
Yep.
before the Clone Wars movie when they go on to Christophsis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which-
it's like
It's a unique thing to the Clone Wars, but like, is that a good thing to be unique about? To be out of order? Which
I don't
again,
know.
Like, I mean, it's not unique. The Star Wars movies were like that. They went 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. I mean, technically 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 3.89, 8, 3.4, no, 3.6, 9. So it's like Star Wars has always had that, but like Clone Wars had it really bad, really bad. Third season is when we get some of the first events of the show.
right.
But it's like with Bad Batch, it's not keeping me hooked on, and I don't know what they're gonna do to keep the audience hooked because
I think it's gonna get better. I'm confident.
I am too, but it's like, I would really want to be the guy in Disney to be able to see the view counts of each episode.
This has been weak. The fourth and the second episode were weak. I think the fourth one, this one was very weak.
Yeah.
This one was tough.
Third one was.
The third one was good. The third one,
okay.
No, it was good. Crosshair, The Empire, Camino, that was good.
Yeah.
The first episode was really strong, and it's probably because of its length, because it was like the length of a movie. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm a little worried, but I'm confident still at the same time.
And there are a lot of projects that Disney's working on.
It's not the end of the world if the Bad Batch is the show that doesn't hit.
That's something that a lot of people on TikTok need to know, is that it's like, look, oh my, they have one thing that so far hasn't impressed. Like, from Disney Star Wars, really the only thing that's been like, oh, that's kind of crappy that I'm not excited, that I'm not like thrilled about it, was The Rise of Skywalker. And really, like, one thing out of like 7 major things, I'm not gonna complain, not gonna turn my back and
there's
cry,
only.
But like, if
for me, I don't mean to cut, but don't mean to cut you off. But for me, it's The Rise of Skywalker. I don't hate The Last Jedi. It doesn't work for me. I don't know what it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Which I mean,
but I like everything else.
And it's like, that's the thing, is like, some things are going to be hit or miss. Some things are not going to be for everyone.
And I don't hate the Bad Batch. I know we're bashing on it,
yeah.
But I like the show so far. I just have
it's not exciting
with it. Nobody's talking about it on TikTok. There's no excitement about the show.
Yeah.
Marvel is still ruling the world.
Look at this. It's crazy to think like this. That 30-second thing of Tom Hiddleston talking about all of Loki's life got more talk on my For You page than this episode of The Bad Batch.
I saw shirtless Tom Hiddleston like 15,000 times on my For You page, and I saw more YouTube videos about the Loki news, maybe Kane the Conqueror being in Loki. I saw more stuff with even Emily Blunt saying she doesn't want to be in the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. Okay, playing Sue Storm. You know what? Marvel's killing the game. Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Kathy, I know you watch. You need to step the game up. Kathy.
Well, yeah, it's like...
Listen, and you're going in the right direction. You got all these shows filming. Next year is going to be a big year, and it is a big year because you have to hit next year. You have to hit.
That's going to be, depending on how long Book of Boba Fett is, possibly 4 things in live action next year.
Book of Boba will be into 2022.
Yep.
Mando, Andor, Kenobi.
That is. I could have sworn there was something else.
Either Bad Batch 2 or Ahsoka.
Maybe. But it's like those 4 things. It's like
droid story.
Droid story. Okay, yeah. It's like those major things. Is like, if a droid story doesn't hit, okay, no one's expecting it to.
Kenobi and Book of Boba and Mando 3. If Andor doesn't hit, Andor doesn't hit.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Andor though, but like,
Yeah.
if you miss on like Kenobi,
It's gonna
and I
be
think they might.
hell.
I think there's a real possibility it might happen.
I don't think it's gonna be that bad, but it's like, look, this shows.
I trust Deborah Chow. I think she's gonna do a great job.
Oh,
I just don't think it's gonna please fans.
Well,
I think-
again, what we all need to remember is that Dave Filoni's heading these shows. Even though Deborah Chow is directing them, they're still going through Dave Filoni. Which, you know what, dude? Kind of scary because is he only the creative executive director just for the TV shows, or is that for the movies too? I feel like it'd be weird if he wasn't for the movies.
It's got the movies too. I like it.
So I don't know if Rogue Squadron is in production yet. I would assume it wouldn't. Maybe like end of this year.
She's still writing. She's still writing.
Yeah. So just for me personally, it's like, one thing doesn't hit, that's fine. Two things doesn't hit, it's worrying. Three things.
You think Dave has too much on his plate?
Too much. I think he needs someone to be like a right hand man. We need our two Russos, but for Star Wars. We need Dave and John at the head.
Let's just exclude Rangers. That's not happening. I really don't think that's happening. And we can kind of transition to that now. So let me pull up the article, I guess. So this is coming from a Variety source. Variety. I don't know why they were talking about Star Wars, but
which I mean, Rangers, dude.
Yeah, as we can see, announced by Lucasfilm last December as a spin-off, The Mandalorian. Variety recently reported the Rangers of the New Republic is currently not in development at the studio. No comment. The series not being in active development doesn't mean that the series is canceled for no longer being developed as scheduled, but it is likely isn't currently the top priority for the studio, especially given the number of other confirmed TV shows we know are either currently heading into production.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we look at like Rangers compared to everything, Kenobi's in production. Like Kenobi's in huge production right now.
Oh, it's filming. Yeah, it's filming. It's in the middle of filming.
Yeah, Andor's in production.
Still filming.
Book of Boba Fett is in production right now. Mando's in production.
Book of Boba done filming as of early this month, or late last month.
Mando's in production, as we know.
Yeah, Mando was filming.
Of course, Bad Batch is already done being released.
Ahsoka's probably a pre-production.
Visions is in production. Or Visions is probably done.
Visions is probably close to done because it's probably going to be in the fall.
Droid Stories is probably about to start production soon, which I don't imagine that being anything like huge.
No.
But
Acolyte, nothing. I haven't. Lando, nothing.
Yeah. So
they still need to work the contract out with Donald Glover. Like they need to figure out a time because he's so busy with everything that they have to figure out stuff.
So 7 to 8 things right there in production. Why Rangers isn't in that? Like Rangers, Mando, Book, and Ahsoka, those are all supposed to tie into each other. And when you have 3 of them, one of them is basically almost done filming. One of them is in filming. One of them is about to start. Why is that one not even started pre-production yet?
The more and more I look at it, the more and more I'm like, yeah, it's just like I am 100% confident that this was Cara Dune's show. 100% confident this was.
It had to have been.
It was Cara Dune's show, and she got fired. Again, my thoughts on this: Lucasfilm can do what they want. I don't know.
If the show got canceled, I wouldn't turn a shade. I wouldn't turn a different shade.
Right. I thought she was fine. I liked her character. Mm-hmm. I think Gina's a good person. It's decent. I don't she made a mistake. Yeah. And Lucasfilm didn't want her representing the company. Is what it is. I didn't care. It is what it is. I don't like what people were doing on social media, bashing her. Like they're all of a sudden like acting experts now. Oh, she sucks at acting, man. Like, Like, when did you become an acting expert? Like, yeah, just critique what she said. What she said was wrong. She said some bad stuff, or stuff that Lucasfilm doesn't want represented by their company. It's fine. Who cares? It's just like, but I think John was pissed. I really think John's like, I literally wrote a whole entire show with her as the lead. So what do you want me to do with this? You announced the show.
If we look at it like this, I mean, I was talking to you about it before we started. You know, why not give Jon Favreau a movie? He kickstarted the MCU. Why not let him kickstart this whole Mandoverse thing?
Maybe.
You know, I've said it with you before. I don't think Dave Filoni's ready for movies yet. I think he has a lot of time before then. Give him more episodes of The Mandalorian to get his footing right.
Right.
But he is someone who I think one day he's probably going to be one of the main directors for movies for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I think, you know, Disney should start doing, let's start getting more people working on these projects. I know it's not a huge thing because she worked on The Mandalorian. I'm really excited Deborah Chow is directing Kenobi. I'm really excited about that because it's not Dave, it's not John, it's not any of these people. I'm excited for I'm excited for Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. I'm excited for Rian Johnson's trilogy. I want more people to work on Star Wars.
I 100% agree.
I believe I've talked to you about this. I really, really want a Russo brothers Star Wars movie. And
yeah.
You know what? Like, I don't care if you take every single MCU director and just port them over to Star Wars. Why not? Like, you know, I don't care if you bring any of the Marvel actors. Like, I don't care if Tom Holland or Robert Downey Jr. Chris
You don't want to
Evans.
see Robert Downey Jr. in Star Wars, though. You don't want to see
No,
that.
especially not as Thrawn.
That would be that would kind of startle me too. Like, just be Iron Man as Thrawn. That's
it's like, dude, he doesn't fit. Get the guy. Get Galen Ursa's brother to do it. I don't remember their names off the top of my head. Mads Mikkelsen.
Is it Mars Mikkelsen, right? Yeah, Mars Mikkelsen. Who plays the Doctor Strange. He plays
Caecilius.
Caecilius, yes.
And he
he's
Galen
good.
Ursa. So but get his brother in there, and he's the voice of him in Rebels. He looks
They modeled the character. They modeled the character after him. Remember that?
Yeah. So it's like, look.
By the way, it's being reported that he's playing him. Kessel Run Transmissions reported that, so that's.
He should.
And anyways, do you think the show's going to happen, Rangers?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I first of all don't see a purpose for it to happen, and the whole Gina Carano situation effed the show over.
Like Harrison Dula, but I did like Hera looks weird in Squadrons. I don't like it. I don't think they've perfected I think it would be weird to have an alien. I know Star Wars is full of aliens, but it would be weird for a live action show to have like an alien as the lead.
Yeah. I mean, but I feel like that would be good for diversity and whatnot. So
yeah, it'd be unique, it'd be different, yeah.
Which, something I'm really disappointed about. I know, comparing Star Wars and Marvel is like comparing apples to oranges. Phase 4 has been full of real world things personified in shows. WandaVision was about grief. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was about racism and people overcoming such things like
institutional discrimination and just institutional powers being corrupt and abusive and
but if we look at what was Clone Wars about? What was the big lesson of Clone Wars? Well, we got those things at the beginning of each episode, but
to me, the message of Clone Wars, that's interesting.
War is bad and
I think
corrupt.
yeah. I will say something about the Clone Wars. I was just thinking about, and I listened to somebody talk about it. They do politics well, especially for kids. It's something that the prequels didn't do, and if the Clone Wars was the prequel trilogy would have been much better received.
Rebels, we kind of know it's about found family, kind of like some other.
Why can't Bad Batch be about all three, man? All three. Listen,
Yeah.
The Bad Batch is the perfect combination of the
the-
three shows, and they just like, you know what? Let's go with the Mandalorian formula. Let's just have this kid, and let's be like,
Yeah.
this kid is stupid, and this kid at the same time
Very
is also
stupid.
not. The kid also at the same time is not stupid. The kid is intelligent. Omega is a very intelligent girl, just like Grogu. Grogu doesn't know what he's doing half the time, but he's got a superpower known as the Force.
Mhm.
I don't know what Omega is. I really don't know. I'm still thinking that she has like the ability of all five of the Bad Batch, or she has the ability to learn stuff quickly.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: is
Do not do the Force, Dave
yeah,
Filoni.
please
Look
don't.
at me. Do not do the Force.
The Force.
Not do the
You
Force.
do not need a good main character to be Force sensitive. But all I'm
The
saying
show
is like,
The show should have no lightsabers, no Force. Actually, do it for once because you
yeah,
can do it. The
yeah.
Mandalorian is his best. Even in that last episode, when I see Luke Skywalker, that episode is still the best with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Everything with that is still great. Luke is like the cherry on top.
Yeah, and again, like Mandalorian, you know, it's about a person overcoming a strict religion to raise a child to the best of his ability. The sequels were about found family and accepting identity. The originals were that even the worst people can do good things and make positive impact and change. The prequels were about how even the best can fall to their lowest point. What's that for the Bad Batch? What's the theme? What's the big lesson to take away? And again, yeah, it's not the season isn't over. It's not even at the halfway point yet. But still, these groundworks were being laid out for all of those things very early for Rebels, very early for the sequels, in the originals and the prequels. Those are all very early layouts. Where's the very early layout for the Bad Batch? Again, all I'm watching is a damsel in distress get rescued by a clone. That's it. That's it. Feels like it is every single episode is a damsel in distress getting rescued. That's really all it is. Apart from episode 3, that didn't happen. But episode 1, they went back to
and that's arguably the strongest episode.
Yeah. Episode 1, they had to go rescue Omega. Episode 2, Omega needed to get rescued from the Nexu. Episode 3, that didn't happen. But in this episode, she needed to get rescued from Fennec. It's like half the time I feel like Omega doesn't even have control of her own body. Like she just doesn't know what she's doing. It's just like, dude, you're not making a character that's relatable for kids. You're making a character that get hated by kids. I really worry.
I haven't seen it as much yet. I'm worried Omega's gonna start getting the Ahsoka treatment.
No, because she's cute, and who's gonna hate a cute little kid? Me.
Yeah.
Me. I hate cute little kids.
Wow, you're awful. But I don't think Omega. I just don't. I haven't. The character of Omega itself, like her, like personality and stuff. It's like it's what it is. The concept I like. The concept of Omega, the Empire wanted to hunt her down. But then again, I do see the parallels to Grogu. I think the show. I'm gonna say it, reiterate it. I think the show is gonna differentiate itself, but
eventually, hopefully. But
yeah, we've kind of
not doing very well.
We've gone all over the place. We talked a little bit about Rangers. I think we both think the same thing. We don't think the show is going to happen. And plus, give John and Dave a little bit of a break. I think I want them to perfect these 3 shows.
That's
these
the thing.
These 3 shows are big.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I really think Dave just needs like someone else up there with him, like Jon Favreau. Now, because Dave is going to get overworked, and what's going to happen is you're going to notice what shows he puts a lot of work into, and what shows do not get a lot of work into. And now that he's a part of that for the movies,
are you saying that about the Bad Batch, that he's not wasn't his main focus?
I'm saying that he's not putting all that into that, because here's the thing.
Maybe.
Can you tell me which show you think had more go into it, the Bad Batch or the Mandalorian season 1?
Most likely the Mandalorian.
And which one do you think had more into it, the Bad Batch or the Clone Wars season 7?
Easily Clone Wars season 7.
And guess what? Both of those were massive hits.
I still think they worked hard on the Bad Batch. I just think that
yeah. And I don't want it to be like Dave was like,
No, I'm just saying that we have to also put into perspective what the time period was and what was going on in the world. Clone Wars season 7, what was happening around that? Nothing. Marvel had nothing.
Yeah.
It was literally May. It was actually the first episode of the Clone Wars season 7 was in March. The quarantine had just begun, right? We had nothing. Plus, it was Clone Wars season 7. Last season, they went all out. May the 4th, we got the final episode, Banner. Mando came out in the winter. We hadn't had content for months. First live action Star Wars back. Really the big first live action thing back. Hit. Instant hit. Finale, great. What is the Bad Batch coming off of? It's coming off of WandaVision, who just won MTV awards. I don't know how. I don't like...
Best villain.
Yeah.
Love you, Captain Han, but not best villain love.
And I think probably the best project besides Invincible of 2021, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought that show was great. The Bad Batch is coming off of 2 great Marvel shows.
Not to mention
and
that.
Loki is right behind it.
Well, not even just to mention that. I know it's not as big, but you have High School Musical, the musical, the series returning. Quarantine's being lifted. You know, people are wanting to get outside.
It's animated too. It doesn't have.
So, to maybe put that in perspective, to say, yeah, maybe Dave didn't put that many eggs in the Bad Batch's basket.
I don't want to say that, but I just feel like it's the time. I think the Sweaties like it. Me and you like it. We enjoy it, but like,
it's just
I don't know how does the average fan feel about it? Right. I know my dad doesn't care. My dad's like, who cares? It's like this is like
it's worrying. It's worrying. It's a worrying precedence to think that maybe some of these shows didn't get as much love because of what's around them. Because again, with Loki coming out in just 2 weeks, wow, crazy to think about. How is that show's first episode going to compare to the Bad Batch?
It's gonna smash the record. It's gonna smash.
Here's the thing: is
even on a Wednesday,
Loki was moved because they probably didn't want many competition with the Mighty Ducks, the one basketball show, Bad Batch, High School Musical, and Loki. Like that's 5 major shows.
I think the major thing was the Bad Batch, but I think Loki would have killed the Bad Batch even if it was on Friday.
That's the thing is like Disney was probably like, probably don't want to have all those shows on one day.
It's probably a good idea.
Well, it's like, not really, because like I forgot High School Musical came back, and so I just said that. So I'm gonna watch that after we do this. But it's like if they like Loki probably got moved, so it would get most attention. I mean,
yeah, because I am more excited about Loki than I am the Bad Batch.
Well, and I also think we didn't take this into mind. Loki has a much bigger relevance in Marvel compared to the Bad Batch and its big relevance in Star Wars.
Yeah, plus Loki based on like just data and stuff was the most anticipated Disney Plus Marvel project.
Yeah.
So
if we not only just the anticipation, but if we look, Loki is filling in one of the most major cinema plot holes in the MCU's time travel.
Right.
So it has a lot of hype because it's going to fix that. The Bad Batch is kind of just here because this time period's never been explored in major storytelling. So that's really all the Bad Batch has going for it compared to something like Loki that has major story implications. And, I feel like, and it's kind of hard to say it because I don't think Dave is the person to do this. It feels like Dave didn't have as much effort into this as, say, something like Clone Wars. And
I disagree. I don't want to
it's not-
assume that.
It's not effort like, oh, he put absolutely nothing into the show, that's why it's failing. It still probably had tons of stuff go into it. Let's just put it on a percentage rate. This Clone Wars season 7 probably had 100%, and this show probably had like 95. Nothing major where it's like, oh, nothing went into the show. The
I think
animation is
I think the
beautiful.
show is just directed at a different audience, not us.
Maybe, but it's like it'd be weird to have a show that if you didn't watch Clone Wars, then you wouldn't understand it.
Or maybe it's just on the heels of 2 Marvel shows, and we've had Marvel content, and it's animated now, and
Maybe.
I don't know. All right, let's jump into the Filoni news because I think it's big. Executive creative director. By the way, congratulations, Dave. It's
Congratulations. We're a year late saying.
we're a year late saying it, but it's official.
Official.
And I was disappointed.
Oh.
And some people of course.
Oh yeah.
Of course. It was Kathleen Kennedy who gave the promotion. Yes, we understand it was Kathy who gave the promotion. Now, can we just celebrate Dave? I love Dave. Dave is literally George Lucas's apprentice. I don't need to hear about Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, it's not.
Now let's start talking about Kathleen Kennedy. Let's do it. My take on Kathleen Kennedy is that she did a good job with this decision.
I mean, my take on Kathleen is she hasn't done, or she's done fine, and she made a really good decision.
A pretty obvious decision too, though.
Yeah,
it's not like
I thought Dave had always been creative or executive creative, whatever the title is. Okay, it keeps slipping my mind, but I thought he was always that. Ever since Disney bought Star Wars, I thought he was always that.
It was a story group for a long time. It was a story group that made that was like the council for that. Now it's him. They go to him, which I like.
Which is good. I also think Jon Favreau should share the spot with him, but you know
Maybe.
what? I understand if he does. That probably came down
to
Keep
him in the director role. Keep him with making content.
Which I mean, John knows how to make content. He recorded or he directed 1 or 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. I feel like it was episode 2 for season 1.
No, he directed. He didn't have time to direct one in season 1 because of The Lion King, but he had. Yeah. Season 2, we directed the first episode with Cobb Vanth. That was a really good episode.
It's a good episode. Maybe Iron Man 2 is a little hiccup, but Iron Man 1 is a classic.
I think John does a great job with everything.
Yeah, I don't think episode 1 was amazing.
I don't think John doesn't the reason Dave's in that position is because he knows a lot about Star Wars. I don't think John knows as much. I think that's why he has Dave alongside him. I think Dave's I think this would work here, and I think John knows most of the story where he wants to go, but Dave's I think this is where it needs to go. But I think they give a lot of freedom to those directors for The Mandalorian. It seems from what I've seen, they give a lot of, just like with Marvel. James Gunn said, I had a lot of freedom with the first Guardians. They just said put Thanos in a scene and that was it.
Yep. Which also.
And by the way, I guess if we want to keep talking about Kathleen, my take on her is we need a Kevin Feige type figure in that role as a producer who can produce and who is a know-it-all. I don't want to put Filoni as because he doesn't know what to do. If we could get a Kevin Feige type of figure who knows the product, who knows the material, and who could also produce at the same time, I feel like that's the best thing. Because no offense to Kathy, but she doesn't know nearly. She probably knows some stuff, but not to the magnitude that Kevin knows about Marvel.
Hear me out. Or maybe we just get Kevin Feige in her spot.
It's been reported that Kevin doesn't want to do it. Kevin wants no part of it.
Oh, that's just media news telling you fake information.
You think it's fake? I don't think
it's all fake. It's all fake information. I think know that this man wants his face on Star Wars. No, I'm joking. I mean,
I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy, but
I don't either. But dude, she knows nothing about Star Wars. It's been pretty obvious because every time we see her, You notice in like all of her interviews where people are talking about Star
I don't
Wars.
watch her interviews. I don't even know what she sounds like. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, no, like in her interviews when she's like like say those roundtable discussions that they have for the Mandalorian gallery season 1.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're talking about the Mandalorian, and they're talking about the story decisions that were made because they wanted to do this and they wanted to do that. Notice how Kathy's just like, yeah, not a thought in her mind.
I think she also panics a lot. Like she panicked with the 10 new shows. I think that was in the works for a while, but like I think it looks like a very reactionary thing. The Rise of Skywalker feels like a reactionary movie to The Last Jedi. I know some people say it flows perfectly. I've heard some people say that. I'm like, if you think that, you could think that. That's fine. But you're wrong. In my opinion. It's my opinion.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You're
wrong. You're wrong. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I'm never wrong. No, I'm joking.
That's so bad.
I said I'm joking, obviously, but like
he's not joking.
No, I'm a toxic TikToker.
I know Joe kept someone off camera holding me at gunpoint. He's making me here. He's making me be here.
I hired somebody. I totally forgot. Oh, we're talking about Kathleen. Yeah, I don't. She's okay. I just wish somebody else was in the role.
The whole thing is this: what Kathleen Kennedy? What has she done wrong? Nothing. But what has she done right?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I mean, the mess that was Episode 9. Every time I know you're not a huge fan of Duel of the Fates. I'm like, where was the creative difference there? What did Kathy want?
Yeah.
What did Kathy want?
Well, my whole thing was, I'm not a person who's like, I hate the original script of Duel of the Fates. I'm just like, it just didn't sound as interesting as what we got.
Okay, that's fair. I disagree. I think it sounded better, but like, I'm like, really, Kathy? You're like, this movie right here was the movie that really, this was okay.
Yeah, I would also like to know where the creative decisions went different.
Solo was a fiasco. Like, we hired and fired directors.
No, the real fiasco was Rogue One.
That's a totally different movie. It's a totally different movie.
That was a terrible production.
There was two Rogue Ones out there. There was the Rogue One we got, and there was Gareth Edwards' full cut. I want to see Gary.
Release the Edwards cut. The Edwards cut.
Yes. Oh, Jesus. I don't want to get down this rabbit hole. I guess to end the show, because we've talked for about an hour, we could talk about the scum and villainy of Star Wars Leaks Reddit page.
Mike Zero? Oh.
No. We don't talk about him. Possible Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian production stickers. As you can see, Buccaneer Season 1. Book of Boba Fett Camera Department. Book of Boba Fett Season 1. So it seems like the Book of Boba Fett's going to be multiple seasons. Buccaneer, interesting. And it looks like there's like a Wookiee that Boba Fett is shooting at. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Boba killing some Wookiees. But so this basically confirms that Book of Boba is more than one season. Are you excited about this show in general, I guess?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be excited for it? I mean, which is getting me excited because it's giving me hope, fingers crossed, that Ahsoka will be 2 seasons, at least.
It's been confirmed it's a mini-series.
I know, but it's giving me hope that they're going to change their mind, okay?
Maybe
Can I not
they
have
do.
my hope? Can I not have my hope?
Rebellions are built on hope. So yes.
But yeah, I mean, like, good that it's going to be season 2. Was that a DVD?
That was a sticker.
Okay, I was going to say, kind of weird that I was going to say that it'd be kind of weird that they be.
They just have the show.
DVD.
The show's ready. Show's ready already. They're just holding it now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, here's the thing: is something that I want Disney Plus to add as a feature is to let us see the views of each show, just like YouTube has it.
That'd be insane.
where we can see the views. Because here's the thing, is let's be real, Loki. We were talking about it earlier. Loki was most likely moved so that it didn't compete with the Bad Batch.
Because it's going to take a lot of views away from that.
It's gonna either take a lot of views away from Loki, or it's gonna take a lot of views from the from the Bad Batch. So it was probably moved for that reason alone. And because, like, here's the thing: why Wednesday? Why the middle of the week? Oh
Right.
yeah, I know why. It's because 4 major TV shows are already on Friday. So that's just my thoughts. I'm excited for the Book of Boba Fett season 2. 2022 is a big year for Marvel and DC. Of course, we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We have Andor.
DC? Just said DC.
Marvel and Star Wars. My bad.
Well, it is a big year for DC too. Batman. The Batman's coming out.
But yeah, we have Andor, Multiverse of Madness, Kenobi,
Thor: Love and Thunder,
Thor:
Black
Love and
Panther
Thunder.
2.
Yeah.
The Marvels, whatever the hell that is, Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, we have Kenobi, we have Mando, we have Droid Story.
Plus, whatever Marvel shows are coming out that year, we don't.
Yeah.
They haven't really announced the slate for next year.
So yeah, like we had getting all sorts of messed up. Like we have confirmed dates for like the movies, but like TV shows, we don't know anything about.
I wish Star Wars would do that with their product, like announce like it's 2 years down the line, and I already know like the date of Guardians 3 is. It's like May of.
Guess what? We still don't even know Rogue Squadron's release date, which is the thing, is because James Gunn hasn't even started writing Guardians 3 yet, but it already has a release date.
Wait, James Gunn's got to be writing Guardians 3, right? He has to be.
I don't think he started writing yet, or if he did, he's in very early writing of the script.
Probably, yeah. Probably in very early stages, yeah.
Which is just like, dude, it's so crazy that we're getting release dates for Marvel, but not Star Wars.
They got it because next year's a big year. Next year's a big year. I don't like to say I think Star Wars will always be around, but I think it's a make it or break it year.
Here's the thing: one of them is gonna stick. One of them probably isn't. The other two would kind of just be there.
So you think so far, like with Marvel, I feel like WandaVision was the one that didn't stick?
No, WandaVision stuck. It probably just, compared to Captain America and the Winter Soldier, didn't stick. But overall, by itself, yeah, it stuck. But
it's fine.
I mean, that's the thing, is like Bad Batch, it's probably doing really good. Probably getting them lots of toy sales, a lot of everything.
But it's gonna be memorable.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna rank the Bad Batch now, I know it's not fair to rank them compared to everything else. I would probably just put it above the 3 movies I absolutely do not like to watch: The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Rise of Skywalker. That's where the Bad Batch is right now.
Yeah,
like it's above those. It's above those 3, but ahead of nothing else.
Yeah.
Just because those 3 films I think are bad films. I'm just gonna say that. If you like them, that's fine. I'm not gonna. But like that's like my baseline. Like it's not that bad, but it's not anything better.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to say is, the Bad Batch. If I were to put it on a ranking of the TV shows, dude, this is gonna sound so bad. I think Resistance is miles better than it so far. Miles better. Maybe it doesn't look as pretty, but at least the story's better.
If I had to rank the TV shows, all right, I'm gonna be. If I had to rank the TV shows in its infant stages, like season 1s, Mando is the best. Mando has the best season 1.
Yep.
Clone Wars and it's gonna be so tough. I'd honestly go Bad Batch second. I'm not gonna count Resistance.
What? Honestly. How are you going to say Bad Batch season 1 is any better than Clone Wars or Rebels season 1?
Because the Clone Wars movie exists.
Is that really part of season 1 though?
Yes.
I mean, here's the thing: the Clone Wars movie gets so much hate.
What is a memorable? Can you name like one memorable moment from season 1 of the Clone Wars?
Since we're adding the Clone Wars movie, yes. When Ventress takes her dress off to throw it at Obi-Wan.
So awesome. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a lot more memorable moments than Bad Batch episode 1 and 3.
No. I know what it is.
Ryloth, maybe?
When
Ryloth
Rada the
was
Hutt
good.
got sick. It
Yeah,
hit very
you're
close to
unreal.
home. It hit very close to home. He probably had COVID-19.
Rebels season 1 is it's only the last episode I like of season 1. But I don't feel like I spent enough time with the dang Grand Inquisitor. More time with him.
Still underrated episode. Don't hear enough people talking about it. Path of the Jedi. It's an amazing episode. It's Star Wars.
I put Rebels at 3 for season 1 and Clone Wars at 4. Bad Batch is better than those two so far in its infant stages, but not by much. Not monumental. Okay, that's fine. We disagree. And that's how we're gonna.
For season 1, Resistance is probably the worst. Resistance really was only.
And that show doesn't count. We're not counting Resistance.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Guess what? Guess who was the head of that show? Dave Filoni. Guess what? Guess who's the head? Guess who was the head of Star Wars: The Clone Wars and the Bad Batch and Rebels and the Mandalorian?
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Okay. Well, whatever.
They count.
Okay. You know what? We're gonna end the show on a disagreement because that's how we always end it.
Of course. And hey, at least we didn't start this one by me choking to death.
No, I might actually have you do the intro because you do a better job than I do, I think.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm a nice guy. My friends say I have a great attitude and stuff, so they do. They honestly do.
Wow.
Alex, you take it away. By the way, guys, if you're watching this, I will probably, I don't know, maybe post some clips on our own. By the way, go follow our own TikTok. Our brand new podcast, TikTok Wars in the Stars. I am going to try to post there once a week. And I think Alex should do the same. I'm giving him a hint here, but I don't know what I'm going to post on there. Probably I won't do like repost my own content. I'll make some unique content, but yeah. So go follow that. Alex, you do the outro for this episode.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to be everything for this week. Next week, we'll be back to talk about Bad Batch Episode 5, whatever it'll be called. You can go follow me at Candy and My Band on TikTok. You can go follow Drew at Hammy Demand on TikTok. You can follow Wars from the Stars podcast on TikTok as well. You can go see this on YouTube at Drew H. Or you can watch it live again next week on Twitch. That has been all for Wars in the Stars. And that'll be all for us this week. Goodbye.
See you later, guys.